Okay, let's go.
Hello there, Chick Chat. We are back with another story of the week. And we have an Am I the Asshole? We haven't done an Am I the Asshole in a couple of stories, so we're going to start off with one of our classics. So this one is from a year ago, and it's titled, Am I the Asshole for silently getting up and walking out of the restaurant during New Year's Eve dinner after I was told to pay for everyone at my table? In parentheses, my in-laws.
Oh.
Okay. So the story goes, I, female 32, recently inherited a good amount of money from my mom. I keep the money in a separate account as I still haven't decided what to do with it, and I didn't want it to go to waste. I noticed my husband constantly bringing up the inheritance money and making countless suggestions as to how I should spend it. Another thing is that he expects me to pay for nearly everything the past couple of weeks. For New Year's Eve, my husband and I met up with his family at a restaurant to celebrate. It was going fine until I found out that I was expected to pay for everyone at the table. My husband's mom joked about paying for dinner out of my inheritance pocket, which made me livid, but I showed no reaction, just silently paid for my own food and drink, then got up and made my way out of the restaurant. They were shouting after me like a crowd, and my husband tried to get me to come back, but I drove home. He got back at 3 a.m. yelling at me, saying I was pathetic to get up and walk out on him and his family after they relied on me to pay for their food, and thought I was being gracious enough to do it, but they were wrong. He said I humiliated him and family, and that what I did was an attempt to get back at them for not being able to help my mom when she was sick. Not true at all, is all I'm going to say. He is mad and saying that I caused a huge rift between his family and me when it wouldn't have hurt me to pay for the celebratory dinner. Am I the asshole?
No. I'm going to say like a light no. Like I'm open to interpretation. Doesn't sound like she knew going into this dinner that she was expected to pay for it. So I don't think that that is a nice situation to put somebody in. Walking out and all of that is a little iffy. Sounds like she has the money. Again, that's kind of neither here nor there. I don't think that that's even part of the equation, or at least her feelings. Like, she doesn't want to feel like she's constantly expected to pay for things because she came into this money. I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of sticky. I think the husband should have never put her in that position. So to me, he's the initial asshole, which is why I kind of lightly say no, she's not. But I don't know. I'm always big. Chick chatters know this by now on how you respond to assholes. And I'm not sure that was the best response either. But I mean, nobody's perfect. I'm not mad at her. I don't know. What do you think, Miss Ann?
Absolutely not. That's what I think. Because just because you come into money doesn't mean you got to spend it all at once. For one.
And
what
she
happened to saving her money
to spend it? It shouldn't just be implied that she's going to spend all of her money just because she has more of it.
It sounds like it's money that she got from when her mother passed away.
Yeah.
That's not even fun money. It's not like she's getting $100,000 for like a cool project or something she did. It's sad money. And why does she need to spend all that money in one sitting?
I mean, you can turn the sad money into happy money, I suppose, but that's got to be her choice, not something she's forced into paying for her in-laws' weird dinner. What I don't like was his choice of words. What did he say about we relied on you to buy our dinner?
She said that he got back at 3 a.m. yelling at me, saying I was pathetic to get up and walk out on him and his family after they relied on me to pay for their food. For one, how many people are at this table? If you're talking a whole family, you're talking at least 6 or 7 people maybe that she's got to pay for their meal. What is that, like a couple $100?
Adult who takes themselves to a restaurant should have money in their pocket to pay for it. I don't care if you're going on a date. I don't care if you're going on a date with your husband and you guys share a joint account. Whatever. You should have access to money to pay for your meal. Whether or not someone decides to pick up your tab or not, if you're an adult walking into a restaurant, ordering a
Yeah.
meal and a drink, you should have the means to pay for it. You should never rely on someone else to pay for it. And to have the stupid audacity of an excuse of you just came into all this death money is awful.
And when people go to a restaurant and they assume that they're not paying, who knows what these people were ordering? They could have been ordering lobster and top of the line drinks and
What
stuff.
was this, like New Year's Eve dinner? They probably were.
Yeah, they're probably ordering like such expensive stuff because like she's just gonna pay for it with her mom's inheritance money. I think that is so inappropriate, rude, so insensitive. I mean, she got this money a way that she did not want. Do you think she would rather have this money or have her mother be alive?
Yeah.
Because trust
I mean, either way, I feel like the money is almost irrelevant. The fact that people were expecting her to just pick up a tab at all, that's not okay.
It's very insensitive too. If this girl's already going through it, she got an inheritance money that just cleared a couple weeks ago. Why does she have to buy stuff for every Tom, Dick, and Harry? Trust me, if any of y'all came into that kind of money, you're not going to be spending it on dinners for the whole family constantly. Just
right. And if you are, then that would be because it's your choice to do that, because you decided you wanted to do that with your money.
Yeah, I'm wondering, did the husband call his whole family and was like, hey, my wife's buying dinner, let's all go to dinner?
And then never informed her that they were relying on her to pay. Relying. That's quite the word. Maybe, I mean, expecting. Maybe they were expecting, but relying implies that they brought no money.
And why would she pay for these people if it sounds like they were crappy towards her when her mom was sick?
Yeah, that's just awful.
He's like, well, you're just getting back at us for when your mom was sick and we didn't help you. What is that supposed to mean? Well,
I would be like, yep.
Why would I have to pay for these people if that's the case? These
if
people
you're going to acknowledge that your family was shitty to me when my mom was dying, then yes, I am getting back at you and your family.
She probably didn't even think about that. It's not humiliating what she did. She did not get up in front of the whole table and start screaming at them. She got up, paid for her bill, and she left silently. That's the way to do it, honestly. If I'm not going to pay for these people's meal, I'm not going to sit there and kiki with them or pretend or anything or cause a scene. I'm probably just going to leave. So this way, I'm not going to be expected to pay their bill.
People are not in a situation where you're pissed off at all these people, especially going out drinking all night. Not a good idea.
And they're your in-laws, so it's already always going to be a touchy situation when you're dealing with your in-laws. It's not always going to be clear, whatever. Just like if you were dealing with your own family. I just think that was so inappropriate on so many levels. I'm sure even when she got the money in the grieving process, like she's still grieving whatever happened with her mom. And it's like, I'm sure she would much rather have her mom here than have this money anyway. So to keep bringing up this inheritance money is probably a sore subject. Who wants inheritance money? That means that person is gone. Yeah, absolutely not. You are not the asshole. And I don't think anything is going to change my opinion on that. Unless you had already promised to buy them dinner and forgot. And then even if you did that, it is your prerogative. That is your money. You do not have to pay for people. Just like you said, come to a restaurant correct. Come to a restaurant with money. Come to an event with money. And assume you're going to pay for yourself.
Yeah. I can't imagine that there's anyone commenting here that would have the audacity to accuse this woman of being in the wrong.
She comes into a little bit of money and then her husband's trying to figure out all the ways to spend it. It's like, can't y'all save any of it?
I mean, that's not uncommon. Honestly, people come into money and people are always asking, not even their husbands or wives, like, oh, you got this I can borrow or can I have it, blah, blah. It's not that uncommon for people. That's why people hide when they win the lottery. Money makes people weird.
These people are piranhas. You give them a little bit, they'll take your whole arm off.
Exactly.
I don't trust it. See, top comment, and this has 65,000 upvotes, says, so let me get this straight. Your mother passed on after an illness, and the thing your in-laws take from this is great. Now she can pay for everything. Yeah, not the asshole.
Yeah. Not even your in-laws, your own husband. It seems like he invited this. He orchestrated the whole thing and then didn't inform you that people were relying. That's the word I can't get over. It's one thing if they were like, oh, that would be really nice if you would pay for us, which is still weird. But to say we were all relying on you, I just feel like it implies they didn't even bring any money of their own.
It's so messed up to me. I'm just shocked that people really are acting this way, especially when someone's dealing with grief as it is.
I know.
How entitled are you to someone else's money? You could have a friend that has a lot of money, but just because you go out to dinner with them doesn't mean that they're going to pay for your meal or that they should. Someone said, not the asshole, but please see a lawyer as soon as possible. After this trick, your husband is likely to divorce you to go after your inheritance. Make sure your affairs are legally airtight so this way he can't touch it. I didn't even think about that. What if he does try to pull some crap like that? He almost seems so insensitive to the point where, but I mean, how much of an inheritance really is this? I don't know, but oh man, either way,
You know, you really never know when it comes to an inheritance. I mean, it doesn't matter either way if it's, you know, $1,000 or $1 million. It's her money to choose what she wants to do with. Hi.
Honestly, if I was that girl, I would almost been like, yeah, my sister got the whole inheritance or whatever. You might have needed to lie to this man. Hopefully you have a separate bank account that all this stuff's in, because don't let that man touch your money. It's going to be gone. You're going to come home one day and your bank account's going to be negative because of this man so entitled to your money. Honestly. Because, like, if I came into money, right, like, let's say one of my parents passed or something like that or whatever, and I got, like, an inheritance money. Yes, me and Dean might be sitting there trying to plan how we might use it or how we might save it, but it wouldn't be like when we go out, he'd be like, oh, we should pay for everybody. Now, if that was his money, he would probably do that, like, oh, I'm going to pay for everybody, you know, because we're out, whatever. But that would be something he would do spontaneously there in the moment. It wouldn't be like, oh, his whole family expects us to pay. When we went out for dinner for our anniversary last year, we invited his parents to come with us because we were down in that area, and they came with us, but I don't think they expected us to pay for their meal, but Dean did offer. He's like, hey, I'm going to pay for you guys, whatever. But it was a spontaneous thing. He had the extra money. He wanted to do it. That's different.
Totally. No, that's not we were relying on you.
And that was his money and his decision.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't talk to me about it first, I might have been like, oh, well, I mean, it's quite expensive, but, you know, whatever you want to do. That's what I usually say to him anyways. Your money, whatever you want to do, just make sure you still got money for yourself for the week or whatever. You got your bills taken care of or whatever the case is.
Right.
But I mean, what if she wants to put some of this money to the side for her own kids? What if she wants to put some of this money to the side for school, any type of endeavor?
Retirement, investment. She can do whatever she wants to do with it.
Exactly, and that's nobody's business but
have
hers.
fun with it. She can go spend it frivolously if she would like to, but it sounds like she hasn't decided what she would like to do yet. I don't think it's fair that he thinks he can just come over and decide what's going to happen with that money.
Yeah. Trust me, these aren't the kind of people I'd be wanting to spend that money on anyways. They're going to call after me while I'm leaving the restaurant like, hey, you forgot something. You forgot to pay for our meal.
My bill.
You forgot my bill. No. You people better be back there doing dishes or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
You better pay your way. Figure it out real quick. I need your bank account.
Put it on a credit card. Go to work. As Kim Kardashian said, get your ass up and work.
Get your ass up and work. Yeah, like when I had a friend that lost a parent and she had inheritance money and stuff. Whenever we would do things together, I never once expected her to pay for me, nor did she. But I would never have asked her for that, expected that, none of that, because that is, for one, a touchy subject. That person would much rather have their parent there than be in all this money. And two, that is her money. That is her prerogative. Whatever she wanted to spend it on is what she wanted to spend it on.
It doesn't matter how you come into the money, whether it's an inheritance or whatever. Like, what is this weird thing that's happened in this story where people feel entitled to somebody else's money? I don't care if you earned it or someone passed away and gave it to you or whatever. You're never entitled to somebody else's bag. If it has their name on it, it has their name on it. Like, what do you... I'm confused about that. Yeah, I would never know that a friend just lost a parent or won the lottery or whatever and expect that someone were to pay my way into anything unless they offered. If they were like, hey, I'm going to take you to dinner and then we're going to go on a cruise and I'm going to buy it for you, then I would be like, okay, that sounds great. And I might leave my purse at home.
Right.
Maybe. But I still probably might take it.
So, like, Dean's had a younger brother that passed real recently. And he had a life insurance policy that had his ex-girlfriend on it. And she came into quite a bit of money. And she offered to pay, like, Dean's flight, some of his siblings' flights to go out there. But I told him, I said, don't rely on her to do that, because you
Yeah.
don't know if she's actually going to do that. I'm not saying that she wouldn't. I'm just saying expect that whatever money you are using to go out there, that you're not going to get back. Just
Right.
expect that, because you're, for one, just because it is your sibling and just because all this is going on does not mean that she is entitled to do that. And
Right.
you just don't know how people are actually going to react when the time comes. It's very
Totally.
easy to be like, oh, I'm going to do this for you. Get all hype when you first hear you're about to come into some money. But it's a whole other thing when you get the money and then you realize, oh, I'm going to be spending thousands of dollars on people.
Yeah, by the time you go through taxes and pay a lawyer to be able to get the money, and then hopefully she's contributing a lot, if not all, to a funeral or a memorial or something. Like, the money, it goes quickly.
Yeah, that's a whole sad situation in itself. So I'm not going to dive deep into that. But it's just one of those things where just because somebody comes into money, even if they tell you they're going to do something, don't expect them or rely on them to do that, because you never really know what's going to happen. And you don't know how long it's going to take for them to get that money either.
True.
It's not just going to be a right away thing. You're going to be out for a little while at minimum. Let's say that she followed through with that. You're still going to be out for a while. At least, like you said, there's taxes, there's lawyers, there's other things that are going to eat some of that up. It's not going to be the full amount. It's one thing to offer it, but it's another thing to expect stuff and not even talk to the person about expecting it. Like, hey, we're going to go out to dinner. Hope you got your checkbook.
Yeah, how gross.
Why did you at least say that? You just showed up at the restaurant like, oh, well, here's the bill for everybody. Disgusting.
Gross. No.
So another commenter said, not the asshole. No one has the right to expect someone else to pick up the tab, especially if it wasn't agreed upon up front.
Right.
This causes two problems. One, let's say for argument's sake that you wanted to treat, but their expectation - demand of you treating literally robs you of the joy of picking up the tab. Nobody likes being forced. Two, say you begrudgingly just paid. Now you're setting the precedent of constantly being used, and they will expect you to be the family piggy bank. Your inheritance is no one's business. You don't owe anyone anything. Your husband and in-laws are shameful.
Shame.
Haunted. Never read a better comment on a post. Am I the asshole? I think that was so good. Because let's say you wanted to do it. Now you got people expecting it from you. And how fun is that? Because I know when I do stuff like that, I'm excited because I'm treating somebody, or like that they're going to be, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of response you want to get when you're trying to do something for somebody. Like, oh, you don't have to do that, but that's so nice of you. Like, I really appreciate it. These people are like, I'm ordering the lobster and I'm going to get me champagne. You bring me the wine in a bottle. And then
and don't forget to come back for my bill.
Let me make sure I get all the trappings. And you know what, Clarice? I'm also going to throw in a couple of extra desserts. Now, here's my tab.
$700.
Oh my gosh.
The thing is for her husband or whoever to be like, well, you have the money, so what's the big deal? The big deal is the assumption, is the principle. That's what I mean by the money's not relevant. Sure, she has the money. That's literally doesn't matter. The fact that you're sitting there trying to assume or feel entitled to whatever she has that is not yours is the problem. You are the problem.
Your fault. Yeah, that's just so shameful to me. What a way to start off the new year. You know, what a horrible way to start off the new year. I'd be starting off the new year with a whole new family after that. Get rid of these people. Not that I'm like one keen on like the whole divorce thing. I'm sure it's been mentioned a few times in these comments, but
usually where we end up at the end of the
I do think that this couple might need to talk to a therapist that can give this man a reality check a little bit. So do you think you're entitled to this money, sir? Or why do you feel a need to spend this money like that? I still can't get over the fact of coming to a little bit of money and the first thing someone's going to be like is, okay, how are we going to spend all of it? It's like, what do you mean? Maybe it'd be one thing if you're making a plan of we're going to do this and this. Maybe we'll go on a trip and maybe we'll save some money. But like, this man seems to want to blow it on anything and everything, like dinners.
Well, and you gotta wait, I imagine, for the person who has the money to be ready to talk about what they're ready to do with the money. Even if you're their spouse and you feel like you are somehow entitled to that money, it's not sensitive or compassionate to just start being like, okay, well, I'm going to put some here and we're going to put some over here and we're going to spend all this. Just hold your horses. Wait for that person to figure out those things. Maybe that's what they want to do with it too. But just like that one commenter said, nobody likes to be told what to do, especially an adult.
Yeah. No, not 100%. So the last comment I'm going to read is not the asshole, and oh my god, your husband and in-laws are such assholes. Inheritance is not your husband's. Full stop. He is an asshole for trying to get so involved in how you spend it. Inheritance certainly is not your in-laws. Full stop. They should keep their mouths shut. You're grieving and only have an inheritance because your mother died. I bet you would gladly give the money back if it meant having your mom back. When you are grieving, anyone acting remotely excited about spending your inheritance basically risks coming across as heartless asshole. Hooray, we have money to spend because your loved one died. Yay for
Yeah.
me. They are all insensitive assholes for acting like this. Who relies on someone else to pay for anything from inheritance or other money without being agreed upon beforehand? Either they are ridiculously entitled or your husband told them you would, so they expected it. Or possibly both. Assholes all around. I think you handled this very well. You could have caused a scene, instead you left quietly. Contact a lawyer and make sure your inheritance and other assets are protected from your husband, and consider whether this relationship is worth keeping. Edit to
I
add,
knew we
I am
was gonna
very
go
sorry
there.
for your loss. Huh?
I knew we was gonna go there at some point.
I guess because if this is who this guy really is and he's showing his true colors this way, I don't know. I'm not a fan either. I do think it's worth a few more conversations. But I do think that maybe you should talk to a lawyer and try to figure out if this money is safe from him or not in a divorce or anything, anyways. But if it isn't, then you need to spend it before that.
Not on him or his damn parents, please.
Uh,
Take
you-
yourself and all your friends on a vacation.
Or put it in an offshore bank account or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah,
Something.
put it in your friend's name somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, like a sister or a relative or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone you can trust. And then get that money back out. Because this is so insensitive. Imagine if this was the other way around and the husband lost his parent. If you wouldn't do it to him and he's doing it to you, I just feel like there's a lot of things missing here. I couldn't even imagine doing that to my husband and being like, oh, where's the money? We're going to spend the money on this, and then we're going to spend the money on that, and then I'm going to tell all my friends you're going to pay for dinner. And
Yeah.
like,
I mean, if he was saying himself, I would like to choose to go crazy with this money and have a really good time. Trust me, I'm right there with you, babe. What a great choice.
Right.
But I'm not deciding that for him. That's not allowed.
Well, there's even going to be a part of me that even if, let's say, Dean came into a huge inheritance, I'm still going to say a little bit of like, I think we should save some of it. You're going to do what you're going to do with this money, but maybe consider if you're going to spend a lot of it, set off a portion to spend and then set off a portion to save. What spouse really wants you to blow all your money at once? Like,
Right. Well,
especially on frivolous things like dinner. Like you're never going to get that
you
meal
just
back.
put it too. You're talking about trying to influence your spouse to do something, not completely control or rely or
Mhm.
expect your spouse to do something. The way that you put it was, well, don't you think, or I think we should, not you have to do this, or
Yeah.
we were relying on you to put this money in ours. Like,
Yeah.
that's not that.
There's other things that might need to be get done first. Like you might want to get yourself a new car or something. You know what I mean? Like fix the problems or catch up on bills or something first.
Everyone's
Maybe put
gonna
yourself
use
in a
it
good spot.
differently, but it should
Yeah.
be decided by the person who is actually
Mhm.
entitled to it.
Yeah, if that person is coming to you and telling you, "I got this money, and what do you think we should do with it?" That's one thing.
Mhm.
But to like go up to somebody and be expecting to use all this money, and it's not even your money; it's their money. Just because you're married to somebody doesn't make that money your money. I know that in the lies of the law and whatever income or whatever happens while you're married is for both of you, but you're just missing a sensitivity chip here. That's not your money. That was from that person's parent. That's not yours.
Even when it's not as sensitive as somebody's parent, and all marriages are different, but at least in my relationship, and we're not married yet, but we've been together for 9 years. We have a house and we're going to be married in 28 days. But I just feel like I wouldn't even feel comfortable. And again, I have my own job, so it would be completely different if I was like a stay-at-home mom and we have, formulated our finances that way. But I would not feel comfortable going into Tyler's account and spending money on his credit card or debit card or anything without his explicit spend this on this for whatever. I just wouldn't even feel comfortable for the money that he's earned through working doing that, knowing that I have my own money without permission. I don't think anyone should feel entitled to expect any of that. That's just not correct.
And I don't see any comments from OP, and in fact, their account is not active anymore. So I think they just posted that, and I haven't seen a single comment from them. I also haven't seen a "You're the asshole" comment. I was kind of looking to see if there was one of those. She was voted not the asshole, but
That's
I mean, that's all I really see. But there is a comment that has something kind of similar. So this person said, seriously, my stepdad left me a chunk of money when he passed, and whenever someone found out I inherited money from him, they'd mention how lucky I was to have so much money at such a young age. I was 18 when the first chunk became available. I would just look at them and say, if I'm lucky that my stepdad had to pass in order for me to get that money, then I'd rather not have the money and have him alive instead. That usually shut people up.
It's just such an insensitive thing to say. It probably is nice to some people on the outside who are not experiencing the loss of a human being. It might sound nice to have an extra chunk of change at 18 years old, but that didn't just happen out of nowhere. It's just such an incompassionate thing to say.
I fully agree. Someone did say, my condolences, OP, for the loss of your mother and having an asshole for a husband, not the asshole. And someone responded under that, maybe we can soon congratulate her for the loss of her husband. Oh man, you gotta love Reddit.
I don't know. At this point, I would be worried to leave him. I mean, I'm not saying don't leave him if you want to, and I'm not saying this is necessarily a reason unless you feel that way, but I would be worried about that money at this point because he seems to have some ideas that not many other people share.
So somebody said, not the asshole, their expectations are what caused the problem. For some reason, they're somehow feeling entitled to your inheritance. That is weird. Unless you've discussed it with your hubby or in-laws, which it sounds like you didn't, the family was in the wrong to place blame on anyone other than the people who felt entitled to your inheritance. Maybe take a little bit of your money and spend a weekend alone in a nice hotel near the beach, mountains, wherever you feel comfortable, and do some soul searching. I personally would not want to continue associating with these people who feel entitled and then blame you for their own erroneous expectations, but that is just me. Also, read this free ebook. You may be surprised at what you learn. And the ebook is Why Does He Do That?
Can you send me that?
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that title. There's 1,000 pages to that book. Ebook.
I think we should both read it.
Why does he do that? So OP responded, hi, read this free ebook. You may be surprised by what you learn. I started reading it and I gotta say, so far it doesn't look good. It is in fact concerning because my husband has been displaying some of these behaviors and we already have issues in our marriage. You already have issues in your marriage and this man wants to spend all your money?
This is a book about abusive men. This man is dumb, but I don't know if he's a.
Apparently the OP is relating to a lot of stuff in that free ebook. So maybe he is.
Maybe he is.
We don't know. I'm trying to see if there's any more comments from OP, but apparently OP is resonating with that book. I hope OP, if you are seeing this, I hope that you're okay. I hope that your husband is not an asshole anymore and that he either grew up or you were able to safely get your money away from this man. Because this is quite concerning how he reacted to this situation in general. I think sometimes how people react in situations of people passing or medical issues or things like that is really, really telling. And sometimes it's like, do you want to be with somebody who's going to treat you this way when things get rough? Or do you want to be with somebody who's supportive and at least a normal human being?
Right.
I don't know. To each their own. I don't know if I could waste time on somebody who's going to treat a loss like that. I haven't seen a single "You're the asshole." So that's actually pretty interesting when Reddit can fully unite on something. Because usually, even in the most straightforward of stories, you can get one or two "Yo the asshole."
Right.
No, not here. Not here. There's one person that said "You're the asshole" for posting a fake. So they think the story's fake, but that's not a real "You're
Is
the
it
asshole."
so obvious?
I don't think it's a fake story.
People argue about inheritances all the time. I don't see this being a fake story. I am not of the opinion that this guy just out of nowhere started becoming entitled. He probably is entitled before she came into this inheritance. She's just sharing this one snippet of her marriage, this one story. And maybe he is a great husband and money just makes him think a little bit strange.
I don't know how I feel about all that.
Like, greed is a thing. You can be
Mhm.
a good person and still be greedy.
True. I mean, but how? How good? I don't
I mean,
know.
good
I
enough
guess
to be a good husband until someone comes into money and then be like, "Oh, that's my money."
everything's situational, I guess. But the last absolute comment I'm going to read says, I'm a financial advisor who unfortunately deals with this often when our wonderful client passes away. Husband needs to have a come to Jesus conversation by someone else being the bad guy. Inheritance is not a community property unless you decide it is.
But people do argue about inheritances all the time.
So it's
Yeah,
very
it's
common.
super common. It's like
Mm-hmm.
one of the main reasons that a lot of families don't talk anymore after people die. A lot of
Yeah.
times families will argue and get into conflict about the assets and inheritance and all kinds of stuff.
At least from us, not the asshole.
Sounds like from the
Absolutely.
world.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Absolutely fucking not.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Chick Chat, for joining us for yet another interesting story of the week. And let us know what you think. I felt like it's pretty straightforward, but maybe you got a different idea.
Yeah, maybe share your own inheritance stories if you care to put your own self out there. We'd like to hear some of this because I don't think this was a fake story. I think this is a very real problem that people go through. Let us know what you think. What kind of greedy assholes have you came across in your grieving process?
And I'm sure that there's more stories than not. And that's sad. But I'm sure
Yeah.
that people have dealt with a lot of stupid stuff during those kinds of times. I mean, it seems like during the hardest times, you find out who people really are. So,
Totally.
but all right, Chick Chat. Well, on that note, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, super fun note to leave off on.
Okay, bye.
Bye.